This is a review of the Minolta X-370, an entry-level camera that sold between the years of 1984 and 1990 and shared the shutter, viewfinder, mirror system, and light meter with its big brother, the legendary Minolta X-700.
I'm going to go over the controls of the camera, a little bit about its history and my history with it. Then I'll talk about my likes and dislikes.
We're going to start off on the top plate right side where you're going to find the film advance lever, the frame counter window, the safe load signal window, the shutter release, the mode/shutter speed selector, and finally the mode/shutter speed window. Turning the selector, you see options of auto, bulb, 1 second, and then 1/2 second to 1/1000th of a second. And the red 60 indicates the flash synchronization speed is 1/60th of a second. On the top plate left side, you see the on-off switch, the film rewind lever, and around that the film speed dial. Tilt the camera a bit to see the film speed window and the lock. Moving to the front plate right side, there's a control which when pressed up is a self-timer function and when pressed down is the auto exposure lock. And below that there is an LED for the self-timer function. Next to that there is a really nice hand grip. And on the left side you'll find the lens release button and the shutter release socket. On the back plate you see the memo holder. And on the bottom plate left to right you have the motor drive coupler, the film rewind button, the tripod socket, the battery door, and finally the motor drive contacts. Looking in the viewfinder you see the focusing screen straight ahead and the metering information on the right. When in manual mode, the M is lit up at the top and you see a flashing LED beside the currently set shutter speed and a solid LED beside the shutter speed that the camera thinks you should have. Auto mode is aperture priority, and in this mode you set the aperture manually and the camera picks the shutter speed and indicates that with an LED in the meter.
This camera came out as a less expensive option to the big brother, the X700. It's missing the depth of field preview button, which I really use on all my cameras, so that's a big one to be missing. But it adds the shutter speed that you're currently set being displayed in the viewfinder, which the X700 doesn't do, and that's one of the few criticisms of that model. This also has no program mode, but it does have aperture priority. So the auto on this window is aperture priority. You pick the aperture and the camera picks the shutter speed, and it shows you the shutter speed in the viewfinder. The other thing this camera is missing that the X700 has is it does not show you the aperture that you're currently at in the viewfinder. So you have to take your eye away from the thing and look down on the aperture. It also does not have any exposure compensation dial. It's not really a big deal because you can just adjust your film speed and just kind of try to remember to set it back if it's just for that one picture that you need to make the adjustment. Or what you can do is, with this memo holder, you can put your film speed in there, and then when you make a change, if you forget, you can look down and say, oops, I'm supposed to be at 400 and I switched it. I found this camera at a thrift store for $9.99 many years ago, and I hadn't ever seen one. I had used the X700, but I hadn't seen the 370, didn't really know much about it, so I picked it up, and it even came with this lens. And I shot a few rolls of film through it. It's a great camera. It's actually incredibly clean. You can see it still has the plastic tape thing on the bottom to protect it. It's got no scratches on it anywhere. And it actually takes great pictures. It still works fine. Put some new batteries in it and ran some film through it, and it's a great camera. It's actually, you will find these on eBay and Craigslist a lot cheaper than the 700 or even the 570. So I would recommend this camera all day long.
Production was moved from Japan to China in 1990, and the camera was used as a basis for many cameras from China. Here are a few.
Thanks for watching my video, and if you liked it, hit the like button and think about subscribing. Also, if you have some ideas for other videos you'd like me to make, leave some comments down below. Thanks again. I'm going to go over the controls of the camera, talk a little bit about